Chapter 6. Human Karmic Instances. 1. I'm going to narrate to you a case that happened to me some time ago. We moved out of the house in which we had lived for 11 years, and where we had a lot of bad luck. Since some of our belongings had been left behind, my aunt and I went back to that house a few days later. Immediately upon entering, we smelled the foul stench of a corpse. Since we had left the house totally clean, I was curious, so I went to the second floor in order to inspect it. When entering one of the bedrooms, I saw, in the place formerly occupied by one of the beds, a deep hole, as if someone was going to place a coffin in it. I uttered a shout, and my aunt came up when hearing it. Then, because she saw that I was so frightened, we left that house immediately and went back to the house where we live now. From that moment, I began to lose my appetite. I was scarcely eating, little by little, until the moment in which I could not eat any type of food. In 2 months, I lost 40 pounds. Therefore, they had to place me in a sanatorium. Many specialists examined me, yet no one could find the cause of my disease. I was dying and suffering a pain in my stomach, which did not stop not even for a minute. Medicines, meals, I could not ingest anything. Everything had to be injected. After 8 days as a patient in the sanatorium, I entered into a comatose state. The physicians exhausted all efforts trying healing me, and their diagnosis was cancer, since indeed my body was exhaling the scent of a cancerous body. They wanted to perform surgery on me, but my relatives did not allow it. I always saw next to me a doctor with a long white robe. He was unknown to me and my relatives because he was not assisting me in this physical world. That doctor, who was invisible to all except to me, comforted me and promised to heal me. Certainly his word was fulfilled, and I was miraculously cured. So when the surgeons finally operated upon me in order to discover the cause causarum of my disease, with astonishment they discovered that I was totally healed. The supposed cancer did not exist. Could you tell me what happened? What was the cause of my disease? This has always been an enigma for me. Samael Aunware. With great pleasure I will answer your question. Allow me to tell you, dear young lady, that in your past existence, which you indeed had here in the capital city of Mexico, you committed an act of black magic against another person that produced his death. Thus, your mysterious disease was the outcome of that. If you were healed, if you did not die, it is because in your present life you have done good actions which allowed diminishing your karma. You were indeed attended by an invisible actor, therefore you must be immensely thankful for it. 2. We were 3 siblings from the first marriage of my father, whose relatives took my older brother away from my mother when he became 1 year old. Then, when I was 5 years old, my mother gave me to my father, who lived with his mother and my older brother. During all my childhood, I never received affection from any of them because of the hatred that my grandmother always had against me, so they did not care about me in order not to upset her. I never knew if my mother was alive until I was 15 years old. My mother was the only one who gave me affection until her death 10 years ago. I would like to know why I have not been able to find happiness and the love of a man, and what was the cause of the great hatred on the part of my grandmother. Samael Aunware. Turn around the videotape of your story, and you will have the answer, since it is obvious that all of those events of your life are a repetition of your previous existence, where you, instead of being the prey, were the predator. Those who have today provided you with so much pain were your victims in the past, and that is all. Remember that the law of karma is the faithful balance of all our actions. There can be no effect without a cause, nor cause without an effect. Therefore, you have collected the consequences of your own acts. If you were to remember your previous life or your previous lives, then you could verify the reality of my words. 3. Could you explain why I cannot find love in my life, in spite of longing for it so much? Based on the law of action and consequence, we always harvest what we sow. Thus, by logical consequence, we can see that since you sowed storms, you harvested lightning. 4. Would you narrate to us some concrete case of a disease, the cause of which is based in bad actions from previous lives? With greatest pleasure. In my last reincarnation, I knew the case of a bandit who was shot. His execution happened on a road. This bandit was called by the nickname Golondrino. He fell into the hands of justice, was tied to a tree, and received the death sentence. Much later, that man was reborn into a feminine body. So one day, her relatives asked me for help. This young and very distinguished lady, within which the soul of the wanderer had reincorporated, was foaming at the mouth, and her body was writhing horribly, while shouting full of terror the following phrases. "The police are already coming for me. They say that I am a thief, a road bandit. They have tied me to this tree, and they are going to shoot me." The last words were always accompanied by movements of her hands, making effort as if she wanted to untie invisible bows, strange cords.
Our investigations revealed to us this concrete case. It was therefore related to a mental repetition of the final episode of the previous life of the soul incarnated in the woman's body. Psychiatrists totally failed. They could not heal her. We had to appeal to certain magical conjurations. Thus, the outcome was astounding, since the patient was radically healed. There is no doubt that we were assisted by the divine power of the Holy Spirit. 5. We lived in a house with the number 13 on the door, and we were 13 in our family. During the 11 years we were in that house, there was nothing but disease and misery. Could you tell us what is the cause of this? Samael Anwar. Respectable young lady, I will answer your question with pleasure. Remember that the mission of the cosmic ship Apollo 13 was a complete failure. The plan of the United States for the conquest of space had to be postponed since the 3 astronauts of the crew were on the verge of perishing. At these moments, the memory of one New Year's Eve comes to my memory. We 13 people were reunited around a table. In the midst of that banquet, I said to the guests, "One from among us, the 13 people that are here reunited, will soon die." Such a prophecy was fulfilled some months later, when one of those guests passed away. Do not become surprised then by the fatidic 13. Such number is death, fatality, tragedy, pain. Nevertheless, the 13 also brings new situations, since death and life are found intimately related. It is clear that you were paying a frightful karma. That is all. 6. Could you tell me why I have always failed with love? When I am on the verge of reaching happiness, it flies away from my hand. Even when they always say that they love me, they run away from me to marry another woman. Samael Anwar. Respectable lady, with great pleasure I will answer your question. It is clear that your problem could not in any way be properly understood if we ignored the law of the eternal return. Listen, all events are an incessant repetition of the events of different past lives. Every human being has contracted diverse marriages in past lives, or has settled down into sexual relations with other people, etc. Thus, the outcome of such conjugal associations can be good, bad, or indifferent. If we have behaved badly with a determined spouse, then in a new life the re-encounter with its consequences are settled down. Failed marriages, frustrations of weddings, the rupture of loving relations, etc. What is the most serious of all this is the legal separation forced by such and such reason, and mainly when there is love.